go. I'm a real gamer. This is a story about a fake gamer journalist that, to be fair, made a bunch of money on bullshitting the system.
When it comes
She
to
gamed the
video game
system,
crash and
ironically.
burns, they really don't get much more spectacular than this one. It would be no exaggeration to say that Anita Sarkeesian was one of the most influential, divisive, and widely hated figures in the whole industry. A name that's practically become the Lord Voldemort of the gaming world now, instantly conjuring up memories of bitter online culture wars, horrifyingly unlikable girl bosses, DEI struggle sessions, corporate mandated activism, and of course, absolutely shameless online grifting.
Wait, hold on. I need to read that tweet.
Mandated activism, and of course, absolutely shameless.
Hey, what the hell? She's using Twitter? Oh wait, no, this is pre-Elon. I'm always available for consulting because it sure sounds like you might need it before the whole of the internet drags you for what sounds like some potentially sexist representation, which we all know you struggle with in the past. Oh man, we have a narcissist. We have a juicy narcissist that doesn't know video games.
Online grifting. A woman who once spoke in front of the United Nations, who had major studios bending over backwards to accommodate her, the entire legacy media apparatus trying to prop her up, and a river of money all flowing her way. Then, it all kind of fell apart when everyone collectively realized she was completely full of shit, knew practically nothing about the things she presumed to lecture industry pros and lifelong fans about, and her involvement in most major gaming projects was a kind of reverse Midas touch, turning gold into shit and profit into massive.
Was she really involved with BioShock Infinity? That game was not that good. It kind of fell off.
Losses. So join me, your humble critical gamer, as we explore the crash and burn of Anita Sarkeesian. Anita was born in Toronto, Canada in 1983, the daughter of Iraqi Armenians who moved to the country back in the 70s. After finishing high school, she moved
to oh man, you know she's gonna be a problem. Look at that fucking haircut. What the fuck? Ew.
California to study communications before moving on to York University, where she earned a master's degree in social and political thought in 2010. Already her preoccupation with gender and identity politics was pretty obvious with her final thesis, I'll Make a Man Out of You, Strong Women in Science Fiction and Fantasy Television. While finishing up her degree, she launched the website Feminist Frequency.
Feminist Frequency. Let me see here. What the hell is all these characters?
Dedicated to analysing media from a feminist perspective, where she did groundbreaking work like applying the Bechdel test, a widely debunked tool whose own creator admitted that it was done purely for laughs, to the Best Picture nominees in 2012,
Invasions of Dyke, Watch Out for Us,
and breaking down the gender stereotyping in Lego Bricks.
Wow, what an important job. Your job is to talk about feminism. How do I say this? Modern feminism fell off. It made women look bad. And here's the thing. I know a lot of functional women in society. They are absolutely against the whole idea of postmodern feminism. But you know, I think the only reason why this woman is involved with feminism is because she's getting paid. I don't think she actually really believes in, well, hard to say. Some people do believe it, but then I think she used draconian methodology to get her position of power in order to make money off the situation. Like, you know, force companies and force developers into subduing to DEI hires and pushing feminism in video games.
Stereotyping in Lego Bricks. Yep, I'm being serious here. None of this made too much of an impact, but it did open up a new avenue for grifting. Sorry, media analysis. And that avenue was video games, a rapidly growing industry catering to a largely male audience and making absurd amounts of money in the process. And that clearly was something that needed correcting. In May
Honestly, I don't blame her. She wants to make a lot of money out of a situation. Yeah, sure, go for it, right? But it's the people, the executives that let it happen that are to be blamed. A lot of people would I don't blame people for taking advantage of a situation just to make money.
2012, Anita launched a Kickstarter campaign to fund a YouTube video series called Tropes vs. Women in Video Games, where she would break down various harmful stereotypes and depictions of women in gaming and how they could be fixed.
Over the course of this series, I will be offering critical analysis of many popular
these girls are hotter than me.
But please keep in mind that it's both possible, and even necessary, to simultaneously enjoy a piece of media, while also being critical of its more pernicious
These eyebrows are no bueno.
Why exactly do you need funding to create the kind of videos that most content creators can make themselves for nothing? Don't know. Just don't worry about where the money went. Either way, the campaign was a massive hit and ended up raising over $150,000, and Tropes vs. Women rolled ahead with its first episode, Damsels in Distress, that came out the following year.
I like that.
Yeah, it was mostly superficial, highly biased, and easily debunked analysis of cherry-picked examples stripped of context, usually from games that had been made decades earlier, and tossed together with the kind of word salad that could only come from a political science degree, but what the fuck? It was exactly what the legacy news media were desperate for, a chance to shame and browbeat an industry that had mostly gone unchallenged until now. The New York Times even called it essential viewing for anyone interested in video games, and one of their journalists even tried to call out Nintendo's Shigeru Miyamoto about the damsels in distress trope in the Mario games. His response? I haven't given it a lot of deep thought over the years. Fucking based. Not everyone was riding the feminist...
Just like any normal person, right? Imagine building a cup and then a feminist come to tell you that your cup is sexist. How stupid does that sound?
Frequency bandwagon though. As it turned out, Anita and her series had blundered right into the middle of the biggest online culture war of all time, Gamergate. Now, there's already like 1 million videos explaining this topic in way more depth than I ever could. The short version is that people began to notice that certain indie...
Remember back then when only hot girls are qualified to dye their hair? Now you have this.
Game developers were getting a suspicious amount of positive coverage from mainstream gaming.
She looks like that one character from that movie, A Land for No Old Men.
And outlets, which led to accusations of corruption, bias, and even sexual favors in games journalism, and eventually exploded into an all-out backlash against the creep of identity politics and feminism in gaming. And this was hardcore, man. Doxing, threats, harassment campaigns, mass flagging, review bombing, even criminal charges. It was all kicking off, and pretty soon, the Tropes vs. Women series became another major target, along with its creator. Now, it goes without saying that I do not endorse this kind of shit in the slightest. Criticizing a person's ideas is perfectly fine, but actually threatening harm on them...
Sitting apartment with a loaded gun at the moment. You step outside, I'm gonna blow you.
The real world is something very fucking different. Either way though, Anita was able to spin all of this to her advantage with sympathetic news coverage and even an appearance at the UN to speak about online harassment. Now, if you were a tinfoil hat enthusiast, you might even suggest that she courted this kind of online controversy and baited people into harassing her to prove her own point and portray herself as a brave victim standing up to the online mob so she can milk all that sweet sympathy and donation money. But you know...
I do not blame her. If you can make money off the situation, go for it. But at the same time, you're going to be making enemies too, so, you know, play it wisely.
That's just crazy talk. Before you could say gassed up mid, though, Anita and her Trope series was the toast of the town in media circles, garnering millions.
Realistically, what are these angry gamers going to say or do to her? There's no there's never been a time where an angry gamer killed someone. Let's be real. I mean, well, there are some rare cases, but generally gamers are harmless in real life. They're all like dirty and unemployed.
Views, attending major speaking events, TED Talks, video game conferences, and basically anyone that would have her.
Right.
Suddenly confronted by this
That's why no one watched TED Talks
and
anymore.
Profit-threatening criticism, the gaming industry reacted exactly like you'd expect. They folded like a house of cards, and before you knew it, Anita was being touted as the new savior of gaming, the bringer of light and truth who was going to drag the industry away from sweaty teenage boys and horny middle-aged men and into a more enlightened era of diversity and inclusion.
You sure about that? You sure about that? You sure about that?
However, all was not well. The Tropes vs. Women series that had started with such fanfare in 2013 was rapidly losing momentum. Views dropped off sharply from 2015 onwards and never really...
What the hell? Water guns? Oh, hell no. They didn't just make this game... It's not a game.
Recovered, and the pace of upload...
The Last of Us, it is a game. That's tragic.
Slowed down drastically, with only 2 episodes getting released in 2017 before the whole thing ground to a halt. Wow, that was $150,000 well spent, wasn't it? Anita's claim of being a lifelong gamer took a bit of a hit when footage emerged of her running a workshop back in 2010, giving a very different story.
It's a soundtrack of one song, except I'm doing video games. So it's not exactly a fandom. I'm not a fan of video games. I actually had to learn a lot about video games in the process of making this.
Are you serious? It also turns out that mainstream media support is a fickle mistress, and if you don't have an actual fan base there to lift you up, pretty soon you're going to disappear into obscurity. And well, that's exactly what happens. A VidCon panel that she hosted in 2017 turned into a complete disaster when almost nobody showed up except her own detractors, and she spent most of the event raging against them and dodging their questions. By 2019, desperate for money and relevance, she tried to publicly blackmail CD Projekt Red into a consultancy gig on their upcoming game Cyberpunk 2077, saying, "Hey CD Projekt Red, I'm always available for consulting because it sure sounds like you might need it before the whole of the internet
the narcissistic approach. The guys, you don't know what you're doing. Let me consult for you. Pay me... I'll be generous, like $2,000 an hour to tell you guys how to do your job, okay? Meet me, bump me up with your executives. I'll tell them how to do their job, okay? Here's the thing about consulting. It's a scam. It's low-key a scam. Not a full-blown scam, but it's low-key a scam. You can ask many business owners like Kevin O'Leary or Elon Musk. Consulting is just a flat-out scam. It's basically people taking your money, telling you a few things, and then if their strategy doesn't work, it doesn't matter. They still get paid. Like they still get paid like when you follow through with what they tell you to do. Consulting is just full of shit. You're better off using ChatGPT.
Drags you for what sounds like some potentially sexist representations, which we all know you've struggled with in the past.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
It was the social media equivalent of a protection racket. Hey buddy, nice game you got there. Be a real shame if something was to happen to it, know what I mean? Needless to say, it didn't work. CD Projekt Red and any other developers still interested in turning a profit avoided her like the plague, and by the early 2020s, the culture had shifted, Gamergate and most of its major players had faded from relevance, and feminist frequency was fading with it. See, it turns out that watching a bunch of bored, frumpy, middle-aged spinsters prattling on about media they barely understand wasn't a big hit with audiences. Views plummeted, interest waned, and in 2023, Anita announced that she was shutting down.
Dude, this is the pandemic era, like 2023, and your shit got shut down? This is when everybody was listening to podcasts and listening to shows, and your shit got shut down during the pinnacle of internet media consumption. Your show must have sucked.
down feminist frequency for goods. The official excuse was burnout and exhaustion. The real reason? Nobody was fucking watching it. So where exactly is she now? Well, in 2023, she made headlines when she celebrated her 40th birthday by holding a wedding ceremony where she married herself.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my god, that might be the saddest thing I have ever heard. Honestly, I can't think of a better metaphor for modern day feminism than a single, childless, middle-aged woman.
Jeez. That is sad. No one wants to be with you. You have to marry yourself. Oh god. You couldn't... People find you that insufferable. You really had to love yourself that hard.
Marrying herself. From a career standpoint, she still kind of exists as this shadowy figure on the fringes.
To be honest, she looks okay. Like, she's not bad looking in particular. The eyebrows, she should not have done anything with the eyebrows. She shouldn't have touched those. But it goes to show how important personality is.
The games industry, limping along with the occasional consulting gig on small-time indie projects, but her days as an industry-leading cultural icon are long gone. Looking back on it now, she was really just someone who happened to be in the right place at the right time, able to weaponize controversy and ride the cultural wave that came with it for a few years. A person with many supporters but few fans, who ultimately outlived her own relevance. That being said, the influence that she had on video games is arguably still being felt to this day. Like it or not, Anita Sarkeesian made her mark on the games industry, and it was not a pretty one. Anyway, that's all I've got for today.
Go home now. Oh, oops. Yeah, so DEI hires. Look at that. You want to hire someone based on some kind of characteristic that they have? Oh, well, this is what you get, right? Some Karen trying to force her ideology into video games. It's good that she's disappearing. She ruined video gaming for a while. And here's the thing about pretentious people. No one likes a pretentious person, even if they're right. Like they have a bunch of correct things to say. No one cares. Even successful business owners will not put up with that shit. You want to act pretentious? Okay, fuck you. I'll figure this out myself, even if I lose money in the process.